Says I'm live. I am. Live on YouTube, apparently. Waiting for that screen to look right. Should be you're hearing me. Boy, things are moving slow. But nothing's going to stop. You might hear the coffee pot kicking over here. I've just been a little bit behind on everything. By a couple minutes. I came on a couple minutes late. Looks like the screen is freezing up. Hopefully, so how important are the words? All right, Josh Eddy, thank you, sir. Josh Eddy's going to come on a little bit later. Cue him when to dial up and talk about a few things. Where do I want to start today? What are words? Why do we have them? What do we do with them? A lot. Words are powerful. And when you misuse a word, either intentionally, unintentionally, or because you were coerced, or you're brainwashed, or you just have no clue of how to phrase it in context so it applies the meaning you're talking to. One for all and all for one. One for all and all for one. What is that, 2? No, 2 plus 2 is 4. The context of how you use a word is critical. I've talked about this in several videos. So people telling me I can't say citizen. Jesse Casanova had me on as a guest, and it was a follow-up to a cannabis talk. That's what we were supposed to be talking about, was cannabis. But Jesse Casanova, he just ripped into me because I'm citizen scientist. And he got this education, and don't tell him. And then he brought on another guy that, I don't get good feelings about him at all. And the whole show went nowhere with regards to sharing the benefits of nature for your health versus toxic poisons and evil therapies. So I've talked about the word citizen quite a bit. I'm not in any trouble. Person. Yep, Jesse says I can't say person. Can't be a person. Can't be one of the people, one of the persons. And was talking with a fella for the first time. And so everyone's getting to know each other. And one fella, he's not happy about the word liberty. Feels it applies to maritime and when you get to leave the ship or something like that. So then we've got this MK Ultra light brainwashing that's been going on. And most everybody is saying, let me. They say this in context of things that they should be responsible for. But through the light MK Ultra brainwashing, people are asking permission to do just about everything. Now, freedom is a word that I think almost everybody can relate to. It means you're not in jail. It means you're not in prison. It means you are not restrained. You're not handcuffed. You're not roped. You're not locked in a room. You have the ability to move about freely. What did freedom mean to our forefathers? Did they understand that just saying freedom would stave off restrictions upon you, guidelines upon you, administrative processes upon you? Remember now, a lot of these men, they sacrificed their fortunes. They sacrificed their lives. They went where no man had gone before. For what? For freedom? Come on, people. They used a lot of words put in that Constitution. Each state's constitution. Except for Alaska and Hawaii. That wasn't your forefathers that did that. So, what do you need for study material? Out of 47 states' constitutions, which is a stack, my goodness, probably 40, 50 times this, maybe 100 times this. All right, this is it. It's more than I need. There is so much packed into this. You can't just read a word and assume and presume. That's what the legal system is all about. That's what the bar is all about. They assume and presume you into sickness, a long, slow death, imprisonment, and poverty. The forefathers gave up their lives, their fortunes, and not for you to be sheep, asleep, brainwashed. So I'm going to unbrainwash you, by God, one word at a time. All right, so what else have we talked about? We've talked about assembly. What did assembly mean to our forefathers? Did it mean our servants assemble? Or did it mean we, the people, assemble? It's we the people. How do I know? I didn't have to go to college. I wouldn't have learned this in college. I'm not going to learn this from Mark Levin. I'm not going to learn this from Alan Dershowitz. They're puppet masters. They're gatekeepers. They're parasites, in my opinion. All right, this page right here. We are going to just look at one very small section here. Free government and the blessings of liberty can be preserved to any people only by a firm adherence. I think that one is something that we can all agree on without a lot of debate. What a firm adherence means. What do we want a firm adherence to? Justice. Talked about that one. Moderation. We have not discussed that one. We have not dissected that word. Temperance. Have not dissected that word. Frugality and virtue. I have not dissected either one of those words for you. By frequent reoccurrence to fundamental principles. We'll probably take a look at some of those words for dissection too. Now, inherent rights of mankind. Inherent, I think, is a word that we should dissect. Rights of mankind. I think we can all get on the same page there and not have a lot of discussion and debate, create a lot of minutia over that. All men are born equally free and independent. Equally free and independent. It means we don't wear a uniform. We don't all do the same thing. I don't have to do what anybody else does. I don't have to think like anybody else does. I don't have to act like anybody else does. I don't have to dress like anybody else does. I don't have to speak like anybody else does. In a lot of ways, I don't. In a lot of ways, I'm a one of a kind. And so are you all. But look at this. How many of us are wearing one just like this? Huh? Systems, control. Limiting your liberty. We had a real good talk on liberty. But I think we are going to have to address assembly. You see, I get people saying, well, geez, if we're all free, where's the rules? Where's the control? It's really simple. Understand what assembly is. Assembly is the people making law, the highest law, legislative and judicial, that would then create amendments in our state's constitutions. Let me say it again. How are we, the people, going to deal with problems, chaos, evil, wrongs, injustices, oppressions, suppressions? I'm going to do it by law, the highest law, common law. There's some uncommon knowledge. Needs to be common knowledge. Right? You starting to get it? I'm afraid you're not. That's from experience. So, you see, I'm getting to know Josh Eddy. He's a wrench. That's trust. I trust him. I've never met him, never shook his hand, but I've gotten to know him. So, voice is a little choppy. Yeah, hopefully it's settled out now. So, Josh and I, we had a little correspondence back and forth, messaging. And Josh wrote, let me ask my wife or tell my wife or I don't know, whatever. It was one of those let me. And by now, if any of you are following me, you ought to know I talk about that, but not enough. So I've talked about it with Josh quite a bit. And so when he wrote that, when he actually wrote it, I'm like, oh my God, this brainwashing, this short selling that's going on up here is blatantly obvious. Josh Eddy is a good man. He's a strong man. He speaks. He acts. And then he talks like a slave. Then he acts like a slave. And then he thinks like a slave. And Josh will admit that. And we keep talking about it. But there he goes. Now, that's because we're human. We're not God. Now, I suffered the same thing. All right. I got people coming after me saying, you don't sign your paperwork, Ethan. You're teaching people to do things and you don't even sign your own paperwork. And this keeps coming at me and coming at me, telling me how I got to pick my own fight. There's reference to got to pick your battles. Goodness gracious. When the battle's brought to you and you don't fight back, uh, what are you? A 21st century man. That's what you are. Now, I love y'all. I love every one of you. More than you can know. I do. I don't want anybody to have hurt feelings. I don't want anybody to have bruised egos. I don't want to have conflict over minutia. And I'm struggling with how to phrase words in context on multiple issues that will require an autograph. And the easiest way for me to explain that would be for me to say, come on in and sign up. But I can't do that with integrity. And so what happens? Well, I'm buried in critical thinking and study and development, and I'm being bombarded with this. You don't sign your own paperwork. And the next thing you know, I'm saying, I do sign my paperwork. And I got to do this, right? Holy crap. I dang near got let me 100% out of my vocabulary. And how did I do it? Every time I made that mistake and I realized it, like that hurt. It did. It gave me a little bit of a headache. I was like, caught the jaw just right. Caught the lower jaw. Now, I didn't hit, I didn't hit up here. I'll be all right. I ain't got no glass jaw. What hurts me more? The physical pain or the embarrassment? Or the lack of respect for myself for being a slave? What do you think hurts me more? It ain't the physical pain. It's not anything I just described. I'm being sinful to myself in the eyes of the Lord. That's what hurts. That's what really hurts. But there's processes that we go through. Now, you want to know how you're going to have a society of peace and tranquility when the men are free with liberty? It's your assemblies. Now, I don't know how it was done in the 1800s. I don't. Book burning, hiding the knowledge, hiding the truth, hiding the facts, brainwashing, deception, and power grabbing. He's usurped that knowledge from us. But it's all right. It doesn't matter how they did it. Times have changed. Our forefathers took care of that for us. Prove it, Ethan. All right. You ready? That all persons invested with the legislative or executive powers of government are the trustees of the public, and as such, accountable for their conduct. Wherefore, whenever the ends of government are perverted and public liberty manifestly endangered, and all other means of redress are ineffectual, the people may and of right ought to reform the old or establish a new government. The doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary power and oppression is absurd, slavish, 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 slavish. Get that through your head, people. And destructive of the good and happiness of mankind. There's a love letter from your forefathers. And who is teaching you about it? To teach you that it's there? Some, very few. But do they tell you what it means? Do they really break it down for you? No. And it doesn't matter how many times I say things, simple things, with my constitutional kiss. And no, that's not keep it simple, stupid. No, it's not. Well, then what's your constitutional kiss, Ethan? Look, this isn't to make anybody feel bad or your feelings hurt, or egos bruised, or anything like that. It's not because I want to be impressive or I know more. I'm just sharing what I know to empower you. So we can form our assemblies however we see fit. How do we do that, Ethan? Where do we get that authority? Political powers. Who owns this government? Who owns the military? All, not some, not sometimes, all power is inherent in the people. And all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their peace. You want to know how you're going to have peace in your society when you're free? With your liberty, through your assemblies, through your assemblymen. Doing what? Creating law. What law? The highest law. And you have your grand juries to hold your servants accountable. So no one's going to tell me I got to have this whole state assembled to start holding grand juries. First county established under my authority will conduct the people's business. All right, now, Josh Eddy, aside from all this slavish stuff he keeps getting himself trapped into, there's something going on out his neck of the woods. So I invited Josh to call in and talk about it. So Josh, if you want to pick up that little thingy-mabobby there and make a couple clicks me up, we'll bring you on here and you can bring us up to speed, and I can take a break from speaking and reading. Oh, well, we're waiting for Josh. What do you think about liberty versus freedom? Or freedom versus liberty? Or freedom with liberty? Here's Josh. Hey, Josh Eddy.
Hey, what's going on, Nathan?
Okay, volume sounds good. I'm going to set this up here. Hey, welcome, Josh. Are you feeling empowered, my friend?
Yeah, absolutely. But last night I was sitting down and wife just got back and apparently she got an email and her boss sent it to her, basically. And we're out here in Washington State, and they want to have these proposed policies put in place out here, and it's basically, it says on January 12th a.m. to 3:30, the Washington State Board of Health will discuss applying current infectious disease WAC codes to include COVID-19 for all Washington State residents. To voice your concern, register for the live webinar here, and I've got a website address that if anybody wants, I can get a copy and get it out.
That sounds pretty darn slavish to me.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me get into the proposed policies. Are you ready for this? Allow local health officers to use law enforcement, and then they got the WAC 246-100-070 to enforce an emergency order to involuntarily detain a person or group of persons, families, to be isolated in a quarantine facility. WAC code 46-100-045. Following.
Hold on, Josh Eddy. Hold on. I gotta stop you for just a second.
You'll have to open up the next message to get the rest of it.
That's a code, and I just want the audience to know. Statutes.
Yep.
Acts,
yes.
Rules, regulations, and codes do not apply to the free man. UCC 1-308. So if you find yourself employed through commerce or in government, they've put that there. But it is uncommon knowledge. So anyways, this whole thing that Josh is talking about here is slavish. Josh, Bring it on. Bring this slavish proposal on.
Oh no, it's past slavish, man. They're gonna take this shit straight up a notch to where they're going to.
Wait, they're asking you to register. They're saying it's.
No,
I heard proposed.
No. Listen. They're going after you involuntarily.
Yeah.
The people that say no, they're going to go after them. They're going to detain them and their family. Did you hear that?
Oh my!
For refusal.
It says right here.
That's why we have a
It says,
Second
following
Amendment.
refusal to voluntarily comply with requests for medical examination, testing, treatment, counseling, vaccination. These specifics, WAC, blah, 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 include the COVID-19 injections as part of school vaccinations or a part of school immunization requirements.
All right.
And they're
All right.
They're wanting to.
All right.
That's having an issue. They're not wanting to have it.
Look, who's following Christopher Key?
I've been seeing some stuff.
All right, Christopher Key is a leader. Vaccine police. If you're an American,
Yeah.
you should be following Christopher Key.
Vaccine-police.com, right?
that's what I want.
Is his website vaccine-police.com? I'm pretty sure that is his website.
Maybe somebody can put his information in the
I'm not on there right now because I'm on the phone. So
I know, but other people are. So maybe somebody might. But regardless, you can check it out for yourself. If you can't find him, there's something wrong. Vaccine police.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Social media.
Website.
You'll find it. Now, he's serving Nuremberg Code.
Yes,
and
he is.
Undisputable facts and other paperwork.
Yep.
Now, everybody can and should be doing this.
Absolutely. It's
So-
got me to where.
So hold on, Josh. I'm sorry. I'll yield when I want to get this out.
Okay.
So I'm making a post, and I share something about Maximus law, and I get a ding a little while later. The fellow's asking me, do I know where he can get all the maxims of law? And I'm thinking, my God. He could have made a couple of clicks to search for that rather than typing that to me. So I answered back, it's not at my fingertips. It's not really in my mind. I'm thinking it's not something I need at this moment. And so I said, I would have to do the work for you. And then I said something to the effect of, reap what you sow. Faith without work will yield little to nothing. I yield, Josh. Carry on. Josh? You're muted.
Yeah, sorry, I had it. Sorry about that. That's exactly right. Little work, you don't get much. And right now, everybody in Washington needs to be standing up and fighting this. Otherwise, I guess I'll just be taken off and heading somewhere else.
Well, you're welcome here in Michigan. We're looking for men here in Michigan. And you can stay here. I got property. You can stay here free of charge, Josh Eddie, if you want to bring your family out here. I'm making that invitation for you. Susan, thank you for putting that information up on the vaccine police. After the live is done, Susan, will you please put that information in the comments? I know you will. Thank you, dear. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, it's gotten pretty real I will also, when I get back today, I got about 8 inches of snow this morning. I will get the link for Washington State just in case, anybody catches this video from Washington State. They can look on it and see.
People need to be making phone calls. Blow up their phone lines. Make them shut the phones down. Faxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Faxes and calls. Emails do nothing. Phone calls and faxes.
And I'm also going to have to get the an audio file for my radio station so that I can start broadcasting this stuff out and broadcast that link or something, because this is just going too far. And I already told my wife once. She said that last night.
Well,
I said, there are other states, that we can go to where we don't have to worry about, marijuana.
You don't have to worry about anything anywhere. Problem is, you got to fight for it. And you have a duty and an obligation to defend your life and limb, your freedom. You got franchise on these rights. Now, I'm not advocating violence. Now, over here in Michigan, we got an operation going, and it moves on with or without me. It's unstoppable. And once we turn Michigan, the rest will easily follow. So you power brokers, you men of God, you know where you're welcome. And you evil parasites, we're coming. By God. With work, we will reap what we sow, which is we are working for justice. Go ahead, Josh. I talked over you. Speak. Go ahead.
It just makes me wonder when they're going to start doing this to other states too, because I see in there's another state that you're doing this off. It just rolled off the back of my head. We're not the only state. There's another state. California? Yeah, there's other states that are doing this too.
Oh yeah, West Coast. You're talking West Coast. That West Coast and East Coast. Not good.
Right. Yeah,
the heart of America. The heart of America is what's going to turn us free. We'll own it. We do own it. We have to act.
Well, you know what's weird is they say there's a bunch of those right-wing groups up here in Washington State, right? And all them white supremacists, right? They're talking about in Eastern Washington, but yet all the same tyranny still happens here. So could it be that they're really full of crap about all that nonsense?
Everything's a lie.
I'd say so.
Everything's been a lie.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely think so. I don't know, man. I feel like my values, are more appreciated back in the heartland. I'm thinking about, going back to the Midwest. I'm dead serious. I mean, it sucks because the wages are different there, but I'm getting over these West Coast states. I can't stand it anymore. I really can't. I can't stand it. They're too invasive over here. And, I guarantee you that things will be a little bit different back in the heartland.
Well, it's pretty ugly here. I mean, it is very ugly here. We have treason throughout our legislature. We have treason in our sheriffs, our highest law enforcement. We have treason in our National Guard.
right? But the people are closer together out there. There's roads everywhere. There's people everywhere out there, families everywhere that can band together. Out here where I'm at, I'm in the middle of this state and it's a desert. You know, the people are very far away. It's hard to assemble. You see what I'm saying? It's hard to make the difference whenever you're in the middle of a desert, surrounded by nothing but sand and mountains.
Well, your assemblies would be jurisdictions. Every land mass. So if you have a village or a city or a township, it's not like, you know, because then each jurisdiction within the county would be at a county assembly. So they'd have their jurisdictional assemblies where they would have a representative. Then that representative would attend the county assembly. So from the county assembly, you would have the representatives of every land jurisdiction within that county, voicing the people's opinion. From that county assembly, representatives would be picked for the state assembly. Now, here in Michigan, we got 83 counties. Now, within each of those counties, there's different land jurisdictions. Jurisdictions will be represented by a representative of the county. Now, that could be 1 or 2 or 3. It could be whatever we decide. We, the people, not Ethan Caniseed. No one else. We, the people.
Right.
So now we have our county representatives, and we have 83 counties. So when we want to seat a state assembly, accommodations for a minimum 83. If there's 2 representatives from each county, if there's 3 representatives from each county to create that state assembly. Now, this is how you maintain order. This is how you maintain peace. This is how you hold your servants accountable and end this tyranny and this BS, this slavish stuff that's going on that is absolutely out of control. I yield, Josh Eddy. Tear it up, brother.
I think that, you know, everybody needs to start waking everybody they can up. It was 3%, okay, that ended prohibition. It was 3% that ended all the bullshit. 3%. It's proven itself multiple times. Everybody keeps thinking it has to be everybody. You know, who had bigger crowds? You know what I'm saying? Did Biden have bigger crowds, or did Trump have bigger crowds? Right? So we clearly see that we are not the minority here. Okay? We clearly see we are not the minority. It only takes 3% to stand up and prove our point. And that's all we got to do. And we don't have to, you know, advocate for violence. We fought and won via the pen, because the pen is mightier than the sword. That's why that expression exists. So we need to get 3%, and we need to get that 3% sent in the paperwork, in the notary, holding these people accountable so that they cannot run from it. And that's what will sway this.
People have to stand up. They have to understand what their power is. You have to stop saying, let me reap what.
That is right.
All right, Josh. Well, thanks for the call. Is there anything else that you want to share with the people?
Let's see. Let me look at that email real quick one more time.
What? You slave!
Oh yeah. see, I did it again. See, what? You
Now you got me. I took it down the wrong pipe. I'm gonna step over here and clear my throat. Slave, look what you did to me. Oh God, you talk. It's your show, buddy. I'm gonna let you.
Do you need the rest of it?
I want the other page real quick.
Gotta go to the next picture.
Okay. Yeah, they just want to make the COVID-19 injections for all school immunization. They want to make that a requirement. So they're going after our children too. There is a Zoom meeting that they're going to hold. You got to register for it, and this is just getting ridiculous. So anybody that's in Washington State that hears this, I'll try to post the codes and everything, or the links. I'll try to get those posted maybe in.
Do we need to let you do it, Josh, or are you just gonna do it?
I'm just gonna do it. Sorry.
Oh, hey, no, I mean, like, you know what, Josh, the fact that this is not scripted, the fact that all of this about you and using that phrase and me talking about it and doing it live is priceless.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no one's going to learn unless they see other people do it, and no one's going to learn unless somebody holds that person accountable. That's the only thing that's going to make the change. That's the only thing that will make the change. You don't learn from being right. You learn from being wrong.
Well, right? You can learn both ways. You can learn both ways. And the easiest way is to not be making mistakes. However, if you're learning because you make the same mistake over and over and over before you learn, that's a hard way. If you learn because you're making a mistake, maybe you can correct it before you've actually made it. Because it might be developing in your mind, but it hasn't happened with the actions of your body or your voice.
That's right.
Yeah. So there's lots of different ways to learn and different levels of learning. And so if you have a tendency to send a message to the wrong person, slow down. It's easy to do. Just slow down. You got a history of doing that? Just slow down and look. Take a minute to look. But we've all done it, probably. I have. And it makes me feel small. Makes me feel stupid. And it makes me look bad. And so we do have some freedoms and liberties, like what I'm doing now. I've got the freedom and the liberty to make a fool of myself in public. I have the responsibility of suffering the humility should I do that.
Yeah, absolutely. My foot belongs in my mouth sometimes, and that's what the learning process is all about. So.
All right, Josh. Thank you, brother. We'll catch up a little bit later on a private call.
All right, brother. Be safe.
Yep. Thanks for the call, man. That's all unscripted. I don't know how many times Josh, it says, let me, and I call him a slave. He's going through some things, and I'm doing my best to help him get through it. And he knows. But there's something going on. And I'm really struggling with how to get my message through. It's so difficult. So I'm going to keep doing these talks, and I'm going to dissect these words, and I'm going to work on the importance of context and power. And I encourage y'all to share. Knowledge is power. And if I get something wrong, I'm happy to come back and make it right. Because I got nothing to gain out of this except your health, your freedom, your liberty, your life, your relation with the Creator, what you can do to contribute to a good society. I'm not going to monetize my videos. I have nothing for sale. You can't buy a t-shirt from me. You can't buy a hat from me. You can't buy any of that because I'm not selling. I'm giving. I'm going to give you everything I can to set you free because I love you. And I hate evil. And I see it. I have vision for evil. And it doesn't scare me because I'm with God and I'm surrounded by angels. I'm protected. But I can see the evil. And it is ugly. It's demonic. It's sick. It's twisted. And it appears to be eternal damnation. If you're fearing man, you haven't found God. And to find God, you're going to have to understand the wrath of God, the vengeance of God, and the powers of the evil, and the control it has. The first step in finding God is fearing God. And I use the word God lightly. I'm convinced it's a bastardization. It's a curse to our Creator. And I like Heavenly Father. I like Father. I like Creator. I like Source. But I'm having such a hard time getting through. I'm going to use the word God because that's something that y'all relate to. Most of you. In a context for the message I'm bringing. So the first step in getting in touch with that divine one, the Creator, is understanding the power of eternity in damnation. And the gift of liberty for eternity. And once you realize that, you're going to go through a process. It's going to be a real struggle. And that's understandable. And it's common. It's something that you can have discussion with others. You can relate with others. It's not something you have to do by yourself. It's community. It's communion with the Creator. We create. A male will seed the egg of a female and create the life. We can be stewards to the soil so that it creates life. And it's a cyclical thing, because that creation from us is it's filling the scriptures to be prosperous and multiply, to multiply and be prosperous, to be good stewards. This selfishness, this me, all this fear, that's evil. Pure evil. So, by the graces of our source and our position, we own this government. We own the military. And so what is the power structure of the world, of this enslavement? Well, first off, there is no money. None. We have precious metals. We have precious gems. There is no money. It doesn't exist. So everything's paid for. Everything is paid for. Yet, Vanguard and BlackRock control it all. And what's Vanguard and BlackRock? It's like, I think, 13 families. And how many billion people do we have on this planet? So, it's my constitutional kiss for y'all today. Keep it stupidly simple so that the stupid can get it and the dumbed down can own it. We've all been dumbed down, including yours truly. So keep on studying, keep applying critical thinking, draw from source, and reap what we sow. By God, amen. I'm going to be back with more definitions real soon. Much love.